Hey, Herf,
What's up?
you know what I heard?
What'd you hear?
I heard that half the people that are watching this video right now are not subscribed. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Where'd you go? What's up, everybody? Circus
What's
here
up?
coming at you with a state of the game video. Why? Because Herf requested it. He feels he's got a lot to say
I
about the
do.
state of the game. How you
It
doing,
sucks.
Herf?
What's up? How's it going?
I see you're letting your hair grow out a little bit.
Oh, it's when I was in the shower this morning, I actually felt my hair brush to the side a little bit. So I was
Oh,
like,
feeling
"Oh
the
my
wind go
God,
through it a little bit.
it is growing." But how's it
All
going?
right. I'm doing pretty good. So, state of the game, you're saying, well, let's get right into it. Present your case. You're saying Blue Eyes is
Yeah.
is
So
is very dominant right now. It's
in
everywhere on
the
the ladder. It's everywhere in the
yeah,
competitive scene. It's
yep,
everywhere in tournaments.
yep.
And you have an opinion about it.
I believe that blue eyes should be hit in some capacity.
Like in the face?
Yeah, dude, in the face, in the groin. I don't care where you hit it, but we need to hit it.
Okay.
And here's why. Because for a long time, Blue Ice has not been a problem, right? Because we had
Mm-hmm.
Desperado to really like keep it down,
Right.
put it in a chokehold, keep it in the corner. But now Desperado got nerfed, and since you saw Desperado get nerfed, Blue Ice has been like the unchecked best deck of the format, and people are gonna be like, oh, but what about the water matchup? And what about Dark Lords? Those are pretty good decks, and you're right. Both of those decks are good decks, and both of those can be built to somewhat counter Blue Eyes, and yet people are doing that, and Blue Eyes is still in every tournament. It's one of the most, if not the most represented, it's like the second most represented deck in top 32. It's often the most played. In leagues now, we're starting to see it's like has the best win rate of any other deck. Like it's becoming a big problem, and if Konami doesn't do something soon, it will be just like a tier 0 deck, in my opinion.
Quick question though. Is that what our viewers sound like?
What?
Earlier,
Yeah, and when people contradict my opinion, that's how I hear them.
wow. All right.
Yeah.
So do you have any
You sound
evidence?
like that a lot to me.
Wow, that hurts. Sounds like we're gonna have to mute Herf in the middle of a video. Um, so do you have any proof to back yourself up? It sounds like you have a lot of anecdotal evidence. Sounds like you lose to Blue Eyes a lot on the ladder, or in
Well,
tournament, or in
in
league
my
play.
opinion, if we
Mhm.
want to look at the competitive like Casey Cup ladder meta or just like best of one meta, you can look at the Casey Cup or the Team Wars meta analysis for the past weekend
And
of
I
all
just
of the
happen to
league.
have that right here.
And if you look at Blue Eyes,
Mhm.
the three okay, so it's overall it was played 124 different games and had a 58% win rate, which is pretty high looking at all of the other decks on the list. The closest one being Water Exceeds with a 50-50 win rate.
Okay.
And so it has an 8 point lead on the next deck just in win rate after
Hmm.
playing 20 more games, which is pretty good. And then if you take out all of the mirrors, it has a 60% win rate over 96 games.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That is an insane amount. If you look at any other deck, nothing with like above 50 games or even above 15 games played has a 60% win rate.
Okay.
That's an insane amount. Okay? And then you can say Herf, but there are counters. Then why are none of those counters working? Okay, so if you look at Water Exceeds is widely considered to be the biggest counter for Blue Eyes. Well, if you look at it,
Doesn't
Blue
look
Eyes
so good.
actually had a 62% winning matchup
Yeah.
against that deck.
Yeah.
Sick counter, bro. People consider Fire Kings to be somewhat of a counter. Still, 71% win rate. Now, it's only 5-2, so it could be skewed a little bit.
Hmm.
Uh, but also, like, you have Luna Lights, right? Two, like, that's considered a counter, but still, out of those 5 games, I mean,
Two and
Blue Eyes
three.
still managed to win 2 of them,
Yeah.
and that's only 2 and 3. So I think good Blue Eyes players, given a bigger sample size, would be able to win more than that. So if you look at
I bet
these
it could be at least
counters,
4 and 6 instead of 2 and 3. It might be 4 and 6.
yeah,
With like if you doubled the sample size, it'd be like four
yeah,
and six.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just genuinely do not believe that any deck effectively counters Blue Eyes in a best of one meta without main decking tech cards against it, which would indicate that it's close to tier 0, right? So then if you look at Clan Wars, right, which is a side deck format.
Okay. Wait.
People are,
I happen to have that here too.
oh my goodness, dude. It's
I am
like
on the
we're playing
ball
this.
today.
It's almost like this isn't low effort content.
Well,
That's
whoa, let's wrap this up. I got things to do.
Oh my goodness. But so if you even look in this format where people are able to side deck cards to specifically counter Blue Eyes. So we have a 65% win rate against Cyber Dragon. We still have a winning matchup against Fire Kings, which a lot of people would consider a counter. You have a worse matchup versus Lunalights, which is pretty surprising to me, at 1-12.
1-12. So if they doubled it, they'd be 2-24, Herf.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
That's pretty bad.
But then if you look at something like the Water matchup, where the Water, just the basic mechanics of the deck is supposed to specifically counter Blue Eyes, and B, now they're able to side deck cards to counter them even harder, is still around within a few points of 50-50. So still, it doesn't really look like there are any solid counters. Like I said, besides Lunalights, which is still really weird to me how Blue Eyes are losing to Lunalights, because you can literally just park everything in defense and just like not synchro.
Saber Dancer.
Yeah, but they have non-targeting outs. Like, how do you out like Twin Burst in defense? You don't really have a good out for that. And so,
but you still have to kill them. You realize that to win the game.
Yeah, but Lunalights will thin faster, and you can bide your time until they're out of Fox, and then you go for game. Like, you literally do not have to put anything in attack position until you have game.
Well, when I get invited to the secret Lunalight Discord barbecue, and you're not there,
that'll be why.
I'll bring up this conversation.
And then even if we look at the power rankings data, Blue Eyes is consistently the best deck in the power rankings for the last few weeks. So I don't really see a case.
Representation is insane. I mean, they're like last week it was like 255 people played Blue Eyes, and the next deck down was like 170.
Yeah, and Blue Eyes is easily the most played deck on the ladder.
Oh yeah, by far.
I really don't see a case for why Blue Eyes should not get nerfed.
Well, I'm gonna spend the last few minutes of this video grilling you on. There's always gonna be a best deck. Why does the best deck always have to get nerfed? I don't understand what people are always going for, because like as soon as the deck gets good, it's like nerf it, and then you do, and then another deck just rises up. Can't we just have a best deck and then just enjoy the format?
See, my counter argument to that would be, yes, there will always be a best deck. However, the problem is when nothing can come close to it. And given the data that we've shown based on representation and based on matchups, you don't really see anything taking it down. And that's when it becomes a problem. Like when there was Desperado, Blue Eyes was a really strong deck. However, there was one deck that could counter it, right? So a healthy meta will have a best deck, and there will be things that counter it, even though it's the best deck. But
all right, let's look at the Team Wars one again, because that's more indicative of what people are going to see, because this format is basically you send a deck in, they send a deck in, you guys play, loser walks, and then you can send in another deck. So but there's no side decking, so excuse me, it's more like KC Cup or ladder. So Blue Eyes, very, like you said, very dominant here, but is that such a bad thing? Because isn't the best deck always going to have better matchups? But if you look, I mean, there are decks that have good matchups against it.
But even when something like Noble Knights was the best deck, there were still decks that were also played very highly that could counter, right? You had Goku with Necro Valley and all this kind of stuff. You had Desperado with Quarantine. Like, there were still like ways to play through it. And here, like, the top 5 most played matchups for the deck, 5, are all 60% or higher win rate.
Okay. But look at the stuff we're seeing a lot more in tournaments. I mean, like Automats, Tri-Mids.
Yeah, and Automats have a bad matchup versus Tri-Mids.
Mm-hmm.
Or Automats have a bad matchup versus Blue Eyes.
It's even. It's even.
Yeah, in 4 games.
So if we doubled it, it'd be 4-4.
Yeah, but okay, because every game is not made the same.
Yeah, I know.
Right? So I think, well, like you joke, but I feel like people watching could be like, "Oh, he's got a great point." No, it's not a great point because every game is different, right? There could be 2 games where they got lucky. Could be 2 games where somebody misplayed. We don't know what happened in those only 4 games. The reason that you want to look at numbers that are bigger is because that will control for the outliers
Right.
of misplays and bricks and things like that.
So your big complaint is that there isn't a deck yet that can counter blue eyes, but we have a new box coming out, right? New
Yeah, I
boxes.
would
We can
love to see
creep,
power
right?
creep. I would
Okay.
love to see power creep.
So that's
Either
why,
you
because
have
we
to
always
nerf it
call
or
for
you have to
nerfs.
power creep it.
Right, because
Give
people
it
are always
something
calling
better.
for nerfs. They're always like, you gotta nerf it, you gotta nerf it. Do we need to nerf it, or we just have to be patient for the next mini box?
Well, here's the thing. So, yeah, you're right. Konami has 2 options to curtail Blue Eyes, and maybe that's the way I should have said it from the beginning. Blue Eyes
Yeah,
needs to
get your
be
shit straight.
curtailed.
You're ruining the video for everybody, Herf.
Blue Eyes needs to be curtailed and needs something to have a reliable counter against it, and I don't see what that is right now, given all of
Given
this
the decks
evidence.
that are there.
Yeah, I mean, maybe somebody's going to crack the code, right? Maybe somebody's going to, play the super crazy tech that nobody's ever thought of,
Mm-hmm.
or a certain build here, certain build there. But at the end of the day, if you have to warp your entire deck build to beat one deck, that's a tier 0 meta.
Oh god, do you know how many
I mean,
people you just upset?
that's the definition.
You know how many people would be
when we
like,
talk,
as a former TCG player, and then
when
they'll
you
go into
have
the
to warp,
definition of what tier 0 means.
when you have to warp your entire deck to play against the best deck and have a chance.
Tier
That's a tier
0
0
means
meta.
75% representation, Herf.
Alright, so when we saw 30 card Shiranui with grass, and pretty much every deck just had to play more cards to not auto lose, that was a tier 0 format.
But they weren't 75% of representation.
Because people had to change everything, the entire format just warped around this one deck. That is what
Right.
tier 0 means, when everything has to warp
That's
around
how you
one deck.
define tier 0.
That is how it's pretty well commonly agreed upon in the Duel Links community.
Okay.
Which is what I care about. I don't give a crap about TCG.
Well, as a former TCG player, I am offended, sir.
Well, as a current Duel Links player, I don't care.
All right, and we'll leave it there. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I think Herf has a few points, but they're probably not good ones. So let us know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to get in the Discord. You know why? Because it's free. The tournaments are free. The new player help is free. And it's just a good time. We have a good time in there. So we're going to get out of here. I'm Circus. That's Herf.
Peace.
We'll see you next time.